Let's talk about it with our panel. Skyping in from Washington, D.C., the Executive Director of the Gun Owners of America, Larry Pratt, and checking in from Newsmax, New York, backed by popular demand or perhaps political necessity. It's our friend Rick Ungar, the co-host of Steele and Ungar on Sirius XM Radio. Larry Pratt, it is so good to have you here on America's Forum, sir.
Let's good to be with you. Thanks for having me.
You betcha. Now, let's drill down on this. The U.S. delegation to the UN has supported what's been called the Arms Trade Treaty. But does that give it any chance, really, of being ratified by a Senate majority?
Well, happily, I don't see the Senate ratifying that, and not even the old Senate that's in right now, let alone the new one. But the concern that a lot of folks have is that the president, famous for using his pen and his cell phone, might well decide to go ahead. He's already done that with Operation Choke Point, where he was trying to put the choke on credit availability to gun stores. There was such a blowback on that that the administration backed off of that. But it shows that they are diligently looking for avenues to pursue gun control. And if there were enough countries, whatever enough means, nobody knows that were to have ratified this gun control treaty, then we can see the Obama administration saying, well, under a principle of international law called norming, this is now a norm of international law. This is international law. We must comply. We must impose registration, tracking of guns to different gun owners within the United States to comply with the treaty.
What's your take on that, Rick Ungar?
That is one of the most remarkable stretches I think I've ever heard. That was really cool. Look, I mean, it's hard to know where to start. You can complain about executive orders and you can be worried that maybe this president's going to issue some executive order that Larry and gun owners aren't going to like. How that connects to a treaty that, as Larry correctly states, will never be approved by the Senate, well, at least not this Senate nor the next Senate. On top of that, you've got a 1957 Supreme Court case that says that no international treaty can ever supersede the Constitution of the United States. I don't know how you get there. Norming is so not the situation here. A president is not allowed using norming. Any president, he can try, but you can't use that to supersede the Constitution. Supreme Court could not have been clearer. That case has never been challenged since 1957 for a very good reason. You can't challenge it.
Larry, you're itching to go to this. Go ahead.
What the court wasn't considering is that our president at the moment has a pen and a phone, and he does what he bloody well wants, and he doesn't feel constrained by the law or by the Constitution.
Well, that's a great political argument. Great political argument, but the court wouldn't have to consider that because the court doesn't speak to that.
The president's all about politics, and if he thinks he can get away with it using international community as agreement as a justification, I can see him doing it because he clearly doesn't like the fact that the American people can own guns because we might just want to use them to keep people like him from becoming tyrants.
And in 6 years, he's yet to come and get your guns. It's going to be right up to the wire, right, Larry? Look, you know, you can make the I said it, you can make the executive order argument, but tying it to an international treaty that we agree cannot get Senate approval, and even if it could, would not supersede the Constitution per the Supreme Court. And guess what? I don't know how to break this to you, but the Supreme Court had heard of executive orders back in 1957. They probably even knew that Abraham Lincoln had signed the most dramatic one ever, and that was before 1957. So you can use any excuse to make the case. Guess what, Larry? I'm not anti-gun. I'm not a big gun regulation guy.
But we're going to have to hold it. Tell you what, Larry, we're going to give you a shot on the other side of this break. Stay with us. More to come here on America's Forum.